What's up, guys? My name is Andrew Sarar, and welcome back to my ultimate guide to mastering bass fishing. Now, listen, it's no secret that bass fishing is a very complex and very expensive sport to get into. And one of the first things that you need to buy is rod and reel combos. So, today, what I wanted to do is go through my top 5 recommended rods to get you started for all applications in the world of bass fishing. Now, I know for a lot of you just starting out, even 5 may seem pretty high. So I am going to rate these in order of priority and importance so that you can even do just 2 rods, 3 rods, or 4 rods. So we're going to start this off with what is, in my opinion, the most versatile bait casting rod to have in your arsenal. And that is going to be a 7.3 to 7.6 medium heavy bait casting rod. Now, the great thing about medium heavy is it is strong enough to throw some of those bigger application baits. I actually use this primarily for top waters, so it can handle some pretty big top waters, but it's also sensitive enough to throw a smaller Texas rig, a smaller swim bait, smaller reaction bait. So it can basically do whatever you need it to do. At a 7.3 to 7.6 length as well, it is also going to help you get those longer casts because of how long the rod is. So boiling it down, this rod is just going to be perfect because it is the perfect balance of finesse, sensitivity, but also power and backbone. Now, my personal go-to for spinning rods is going to be a 7-foot to 7.6 medium action spinning rod. Now, this rod is going to be the perfect all-around finesse spinning rod. The reason I want a 7 to 7.6 and a medium action is kind of the same reason for the baitcaster as well. It's that perfect balance of finesse and sensitivity, but this rod is still going to have plenty of backbone to actually catch some big fish. I mean, I've caught fish up to 6 and 7 pounds on this rod. And I even caught an 11-pound catfish on this rod. This rod is going to be great for every finesse technique, whether you're fishing drop shots, Ned rigs, and Neko rigs, or you want to step up a little bit and you want to fish some small Keitech swim baits, maybe even a small jerk bait. This rod is going to be able to handle it. So for those of you that want to start out with just 2 rods, just one of each, those would be my go-tos right there. A 7.3 to 7.6 medium heavy bait casting rod, and also a 7-foot to 7.6 medium action spinning rod. All right, for the third rod here, this is where we're gonna get a little bit beefier. This right here is a 7.6 heavy action rod. Now, I know just a heavy versus a medium heavy action might not seem a lot to you, but I promise you when it comes to those larger techniques, those larger top waters, mainly frogs when you're fishing over that thick stuff, or you're fishing more finesse techniques like Texas rigs and jigs that are around some heavy cover, you know, the timber, the trees, the bushes that you get into. This rod is going to make the difference for you. It's going to make the difference between losing those fish and not having the power to pull them out and losing them and actually being able to catch them. Now, I can speak from personal experience and say I have definitely lost some fish because I was simply outgunned and did not have the right gear for the job. And to kind of prove that point, I'm actually going to link you guys a video. It's a little fishing shorts video I made a while back of a frog bite I was on. But the reason it was such a funny video was because I lost every single fish I tried to hook. Believe it or not, I was actually fishing the 7.6 medium heavy on a frog when I should have been fishing this one. And it really made the difference. I could get a hook set in them. It wasn't a great hook set, but as soon as they took me down in that grass, I'd lose them. So the next time I went out to that lake, I went out with the... Why are they trying to follow me? So the next time I went out to that lake, I went out with that bigger rod, and I started actually catching those fish that were biting. So a little bit bigger rod is going to be able to help you out with those big applications. Now we're going to go in the complete opposite direction. This right here is a 610 medium light spinning rod. Now, this spinning rod is going to be for those true finesse techniques. It's going to be on those finesse lakes with small line where those fish are pretty timid, they might be line shy, or they're just not biting very well. This rod is going to be perfect for those light techniques, those very small Keitech swim baits, those Ned rigs, those Nico rigs, the lighter drop shots. The perk of this rod, because it's a medium light, is number one, it has a much lighter tip, so you're going to be able to cast much further than one that is a little bit more stout. And on top of that, because of the sensitive tip, it is going to be a lot easier for you to feel what's going on underneath the water when you're coming over rock versus a bite versus getting into some grass. You can actually feel the difference once you tune yourself a little bit more. You can feel the difference between those on the end of your line, and it'll help you detect more bites a lot easier. So for those of you that want to go into a 4-rod setup, I think this is the perfect 4-rod setup for you guys. It's 2 spinning rods, it's 2 bait casting rods. It kind of gets a wide variety of techniques. It's going to work for everything. You have something extremely light, you have 2 that are a little bit more in the middle, and then you have 1 on the very high end for those heavy applications. But if you do have those 4 main rods and you're looking for a 5th rod to add to your arsenal, this is where I would go with a lighter bait caster. So this right here is a 7.2 medium action bait caster. Now, the nice thing about this rod right here is it's a healthy medium as far as just looking at spinning rods, bait casting rods. This is the perfect middle ground. You know, in an earlier episode of the Ultimate Guide to Mastering Bass Fishing, I talked about the differences between bait casting and spinning rods. And what I mentioned was that these bait casting rods are typically more stout than the spinning rods. And on average, they are. And this is a perfect example of it. This is a 7.2 medium, exactly the same as that first spinning rod I talked about earlier. But this rod is going to be much more stout in comparison to the spinning rod. It has much more backbone, but it still has that sensitive tip that's going to allow you to detect those bites and cast those lighter baits even further. This rod is going to be great for those finesse jigs, those lighter Texas rigs, those smaller swim baits, jerk baits, small top waters, you name it. Just those smaller, lighter applications where you want to be able to still cast a lightweight far. So that right there is my breakdown of the 5 rods that I think you guys should have in your arsenal as the 5 essential rods. And if you guys still feel like 5 is too high for you and you just want to start with 1 of each, I would recommend the 7.3 to 7.6 medium heavy bait casting rod, and I would recommend the 7 to 7.6 spinning rod in the medium action. These 5 rods in your arsenal will allow you the versatility to throw basically any type of rig or technique that you want to throw, probably outside of the very large swim baits where you need a very technique specific rod to actually get this thing to throw a bait of this size. But anyway, guys, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys are interested in a buyer's guide on specific rods and reels that can be within your price range, let me know in the comments down below and I might make a video of that later on. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.